deliberate with my posterior pelvic tilt. All right, it's day 2 without coffee, and I am feeling it. I've been struggling today, to be honest. And before you ask, why have I stopped drinking coffee? I just want to see what it's like, to be honest. I'm addicted to it as much as anybody else is that, has coffee every single day. Like every day I drink coffee when I get up in the morning. And I've been on a mission to improve my health for a long time, but I'm also on a mission to improve productivity. And I do notice the cliche energy drop off in the afternoon, like I just crash it around lunchtime. But what I don't do is I don't drink coffee after the morning. So what I was doing is I was having 2 coffees in the morning, almost back to back, like within an hour. And then that was it for the whole rest of the day. I used to drink coffee no later than 11 a.m. It affected my sleep. I used to drink coffee, no later than 2 p.m. Definitely affected my sleep. And I just want to see what life is like without coffee, without caffeine. I've spoken to people who have quit it and who say that they really notice a difference, like they just have better energy throughout the day, and that basically that life is just better for them without it. And I want to see, I'll never know if I don't completely abstain from it for a little while. But right now, man, I'll tell you what, I was just dragging my ass through this morning's workout thinking, why on earth is this so hard? And then I remembered right near the end. I was like, oh God, that's right. I haven't had any coffee today. And I also realized after looking at some of the video that I edited this morning, where I'm wearing my microphone on my singlet, there's moments where the sound's terrible. Like if I ever lean my head forward and I'm talking, you really hear it. So I'm clipping onto my hat. I think I might get a headband so I can stand out from all the YouTubers that clip their microphones to their hats. I'll be the guy with the headband. Oh, all right, so today is day 1, week 2 of structural balance training to really create some symmetry or build some symmetry between my left and right side in my upper body, especially my shoulders, my deltoids. They're the big ones that I've noticed that I have an imbalance in. So I'll do this first. Yeah, so my program today, I'm going to be doing, the only calisthenics I'm going to be doing is a pull-up. Everything else is going to be with weights, with dumbbells. And that's a really good way to develop unilateral strength, because when you lift with dumbbells, your strong side cannot help your weak side. So it really helps to build that balance from left to right side, which is what I'm looking for right now. I'm also going to be doing, I'll do a bit of hip flexor flexibility, not much, just a little bit. And then I'll do some middle splits work. Today is a middle splits day for flexibility. And because I'm doing upper body strength, I can do lower body flexibility without having any big impacts on my strength training. Okay, so now I'm going to do, because I had a little bit of an injury in this shoulder, last week, or no, the week before now, I'm just doing a little bit of giving the shoulder a little bit of love, especially in the rotator cuff at the back, or the external rotators, I should say, of the rotator cuff, that I normally wouldn't do in my warm-up, but definitely need it. And what I'm doing here, I'm not doing a stretch, I'm doing a contract relax. So I'm contracting my muscles to go with where I want to increase the flexibility and then against it. So it's not a passive stretch. And doing it for such a short time like that, that's not, I wouldn't consider that a stretch. As in, I don't recommend stretching before a strength training session. It's not a good idea in my opinion. Not stretching the same muscles anyway that you're about to do strength training on. But this is quite different. You can see the difference in range of motion. My right shoulder, when I did my slap tearing, everything was way worse than my left. All right. Just do a tiny bit on my chest and I'll see if there's any sore spots in here. If you don't do a daily trigger point release session like what I'm doing, I highly recommend you get on it. For me, this is the evolution of the 20-minute mobility routine. I did that routine several times a day for years until it just became completely ingrained in my brain for me. I didn't have to think about which movements I was doing and how to do it. And then over the years, it's just evolved for me into what I need the most in my day with my warm-up. And everybody's different, you know. But the doing the foam rolling and some trigger point release like this, that obviously changes depending on what I've got going on in my body at that time. It really helps me to be able to keep training at the frequency and consistency that I do, which is a lot more than what most people do. I'm doing 2 sessions a day. This will be my 4th week in a row this year since my very brief Christmas break. And so to be able to do that, 2 sessions a day, Monday to Saturday, you really need to be on top of your recovery, on top of your any niggles that are going on in your body, to make sure that everything's functioning properly. And you need to adjust your program on the fly when things arise, like what happened to me a week and a half ago. Definitely feel that in here. Aggravated the long head of my bicep, but that's all right. Okay. So my A1 exercise is a neutral grip shoulder press, and I do something called a 4-3-2-1 warm-up, where I do 4 reps at about 50% of what I'm going to lift, then 3 reps at about 70%, 2 reps at about 90%, then 1 rep at 100%. So that's 12.5 kilos. And I plan on lifting 20 kilos on my first set. So now I'll go to 15 kilos. it's a really good idea to lift with the tempo and the technique that you plan on lifting with for the workout. So it was 15 for 3 reps. Now I'll do 17.5 for 2. And I'll do 20 for 1. And so it's a really good, safe way to warm up, but also gives you the opportunity to see if you're going to be lifting too much or too little from what your intention was. That should be good. Yeah, so I'm doing these because my goal is handstand push-ups this year. That's my push goal. My pull goal is a 1-arm pull-up this year. And a week and a half ago, working on my pike push-ups, I felt a sharp pain in my shoulder. So I stopped, rejigged my program to basically work on some structural balance, unilateral work, because the pike push-up is a bilateral movement. And what was happening was I was favoring my stronger side because I'm much stronger on the right side, and that overloaded it, which is what caused the injury. And I've got full range of motion. Well, maybe I've got 95%. Like I feel a little bit of a restriction up here, but you know, I've done all the different tests that you do to test different, you know, whether it's a rotator cuff tear or, you know, all the different tears that it could be. And there's nothing that's making me think I need to go and get an MRI and get tested. I can still keep training. I think this is where a lot of people get hung up on with injury. Like if you can still train, then train on, because it's training that makes the injuries better. If you can't train, if just doing, you know, and train on means you won't necessarily be able to do exactly what you were doing, but if you can do reduced load, like reduced intensity, modify the exercises but keep going, then most of the time that's the best course of action. So that's why I'm doing shoulder press, and now I'm going to pair it with a pull-up, a neutral grip pull-up. So for my pull-ups, I'm using these Kensoi Swissies, and they're really good. I reached out to Kensoi because I wanted to try these. I saw them pop up in my feed. And so when you grip like that, this paddle here, it just reduces the strain on your wrist flexors, okay? Which is important for me right now because I'm in the later stages of rehabilitating some golfer's elbow. Excuse me. Something flew in my throat. And this is the point. This is what training is all about. It's about working out ways that you can keep training by reducing the load on the areas of your body that are causing problems, but so that you can still keep making gains. And doing pronated grip and supinated grip, I was still really feeling it in the golfer's elbow. So a neutral grip like this allowed me to keep doing the pull-up pattern without putting, you know, too much load on those wrist flexors. So these are really cool. There's a link in the description of these videos where you can get these, and they're very, very good from Kensoi Fitness. I do recommend them. Here we go. that way it's good for me at the moment with working out this structural imbalance. It's funny, I feel a little bit of pain in the right shoulder, but I feel the weakness in the left shoulder. So this is a good exercise for me right now. Okay. Into my stretch, and I've got to put my timer on as quick as possible. But there's an update for my app, so I've got to wait for that. So I often pair lower body flexibility with upper body strength training. It's a really good way to make use of my recovery time. So instead of just sitting here doing nothing, I'm doing some flexibility training in between my sets. So this is stretching that I wouldn't normally get done. And because I'm stretching the opposite limb, you know, I'm strength training my upper body and I'm stretching my lower body. Sorry, I've just got to record my reps and weight. That's a really good thing about using an app for tracking data. I used to, honestly, forget what set I was on. I'd get to like set 3 or set 4 and I couldn't remember if I was doing the 3rd or 4th set. And so I don't know if in some workouts if I did an extra set or if I didn't do enough sets, and I don't like that. And I found when I started using our app for myself, I was so much more accurate with my workout, you know, getting everything done the way it was intended to. Pairing a pull-up with a shoulder press is a really nice pairing of exercises because the two movements are antagonistic to each other. So the muscles that push for a shoulder press are the opposing muscle systems that pull for a pull-up. So it creates really good structural balance in the shoulder joint. Timer on. I always like to put my timer on for my rest period the second I finish so that I'm accurate with my recovery, accurate with my rest time. So, and there's a lot that happens when you do antagonistic movements in a 1-to-1 ratio like that. So typically what you'll see is less of a fall off of reps. Like if I did straight sets of pull-ups like that, and I did 8 reps in my first set, I might only see like 7 reps in the second, 6 in the third, 5 in the fourth. But by doing antagonistic movements, so I go from the pull-up to the shoulder press, I see a much less drop-off in reps, and I should be able to maintain even 8 reps for all 5 sets with good technique. And I also like to go always full range of motion. So you'll see when I get to the bottom, I really think of going to full shoulder flexion. I don't want to stop short. And there's several reasons for that. One is it makes you stronger through full range, which is really important because if you want to be able to pull yourself from the bottom, you have to strengthen the bottom. And if you're only strengthening that top third of the movement, like I see so many people do with pull-ups, then that's what you strengthen. You strengthen just the top 2/3 of the movement or whatever. Another one is that it increases flexibility because under load, you're taking the joint through full range of motion. So it creates really good flexibility in the lats and the triceps. And another one is that it recruits more muscle fibers. So there's a greater opportunity for muscle hypertrophy because the greater the range of motion, the more muscle fibers you recruit. actually working on this hero stretch at the moment, mostly because I haven't done it for a while. Been doing the couch stretch for a while. My hip flexors are super tight. Probably one of the tightest muscles in my body, especially compared to other parts of my body. So this is a real challenge for me. And yes, this is a quadricep stretch, but one of the quadricep muscles, the rectus femoris, crosses the knee and the hip, and so it is a hip flexor as well. We get people coming to us for all sorts of issues, and it's really interesting that many of the shoulder issues, of the problems that people have in their upper body and their shoulders and even arms and elbows, are fixed when they just start doing a one-to-one push-pull, where we do horizontal push and pull and vertical push and pull. Just by doing that, fixes so many problems in people's bodies. It's incredible. And I'm still surprised to this day when I have conversations with people and they're not aware of the importance of that balance between pushing and pulling in the horizontal plane and in the vertical plane. I guess it's just not common knowledge yet. But for structural balance, for the health of your shoulders, of the joint, it's really important. Okay, here we go for round 3. Woo, 9 reps. So if I get 9 reps on this 4th set of pull-ups, actually, I'm sure I will, what that felt like there. Then I'll try 9 reps for all 4 sets in my next workout. And that's how I use progressive overload. Because I don't want to max out on that first set and do, probably I could have done 10, 11, maybe even 12 reps on the first set, but I would have been doing like 6 or something like that in the last set. I don't want that. I'd rather do 8 reps for all the sets and then realize by set 3 I could do an extra rep. I'll do 9, I'll max out on the last set, and then I go, okay, next workout I can do 9 reps, or next workout I can try 10 reps. And by using that systematic approach where every set is the same reps, or at least it's not a drop off, that's a good way to use progressive overload. All right. Last round. All right, got 9 reps there, but you can see it was very tough to do 9 reps on that last set for me. So I might try 9 reps for all sets in my next workout, but I definitely won't go up in weight just yet. Woo! All right, for my first set of supplementaries now, I'm doing a seated dumbbell lateral raise. So I'm really, hitting the shoulders, the deltoids now, looking for that structural balance to bring up my left side. And I'm using these wrist weights because 7.5 kilos is a bit heavy for me right now, but 5 kilos is too light. So that's where these wrist weights come in. Oh, man. Oh, that right shoulder has its moments. See, if I was to do 7.5 kilos, I wouldn't be able to do decent reps. So, and then to start my middle splits training off, I'm doing butterfly stretch, loaded butterfly. Let's make sure this camera's filming. So, a great way, again, to just make use of my recovery time. Instead of just sitting here doing nothing, I get these weights up, and now I'm getting a nice loaded stretch. So now I can just sit here and relax and get a loaded stretch. And what I'm doing is I'm doing a few contractions. So now I'm going to contract my glutes really hard. Relax, and then contract, and then relax. And Contract again. So much of middle splits is about having strong glutes at end ranges. All right. Okay, so I'll just quickly record my reps. Oh, I didn't do 10 reps, I did 8. My reps and my weight. So that I don't forget what set I'm on or how much I lifted. If you want to know why I'm not going all the way down, it's because the deltoids actually deload. So I did 10 reps on that set. Deload when you get down to the bottom, when you go all the way down there. They relax, and I don't want that. I want constant time under tension for my deltoids because I'm trying to hypertrophy the muscle. So by stopping a bit short, keeping my hands off my body, I actually increase the time under tension, resulting in greater muscle growth. Okay, so now I'll contract my glutes, which is much easier said than done in this shortened position. And relax. And then I'll contract them again. Oh, it's so hard to do. So hard to contract the glutes without contracting the adductors. Okay, and one more. Doing contractions like what I'm doing is not good for well, I shouldn't say it's not good, it's very hard for beginners. There's much better beginner versions of this that you can do that we use in the Flexibility Masterclass and in the UMS. But I've been doing those for a while, so I'm capable of contracting a little bit better at end range than most. All right. Let's do the last round. Here we go. All right, that's done. Get rid of these for now. You can see how efficient it is to train like this, because there's just no time when I'm just sitting there doing nothing, waiting to recover for the next exercise. But I'm still able to produce maximal effort, or very close to it, for all my strength lifts. Because, you know, right now, I'm not using my arms, I'm not using my shoulders. They're resting. My hands are just balancing these weights on my legs, and so while my upper body's recovering, my groin, my adductors are getting a really, really good stretch. And I'm able to, you know, produce good results with flexibility and strength in the same workout, which is just so important, I think, because most people don't have time to do strength and flexibility separately. Very few people can train twice a day like I do. And so for most people, it's hard enough to get one workout in. So you want that workout to make you strong and flexible, and even to do some fitness in it, if that's what you want. So yeah, that's why I do this, and it works really well. So for my next supplementaries, I'm doing a chest fly paired with a bent over lateral raise, and I use this D-roller so that it gives my scapula the freedom to go through full range of motion with retraction and protraction. And what that allows me to do is to really develop flexibility and strength through full range in my chest. And so, again, I'm stopping short from going to full range, because if I bring my hands together, it deloads the pecs. I want the pecs under load the whole time. And by going all that way down to the bottom, I'm increasing my flexibility significantly, by training strength through range. But I'm also recruiting more muscle fibers through the movement for greater muscle hypertrophy in the pecs. And then I pair with the antagonistic movement. Ah, come on. Woo! All right, so I just finished my flies, 3 sets of flies and 3 sets of bent over lateral raise. So now it's biceps and triceps. And I'm doing the neutral grip because I'm just about to finish getting over this golfer's elbow. And it's funny because I haven't done neutral grip for ages, and it's revealing the onset of tennis elbow. And because I've had golfer's elbow and tennis elbow before, they never really go away 100%. Like, they can come back, you know. But, and the neutral grip makes tennis elbow, well, is good for causing tennis elbow. The supinated grip is good for causing golfer's elbow. So, but the funny thing is, the thing that causes the golfer's elbow and the tennis elbow is also the thing you need to do more of to get rid of it. So you just have to find that level of intensity and that load that you can manage that doesn't make it worse, so that it makes it better. So it's really tender through here for me. But it's all right. I can handle it. All right, so now I'm onto my shoulder conditioning. So this is super important for healthy shoulders, and especially if you've got any kind of shoulder injury, training the rotator cuff. Woo! Ah, woo! All right, now I do some grip crushing. Because my left side is so much weaker than my right. That's hard at this stage of the workout. I'm this fatigued. Woo! It's the first time I've done 7 reps. That's a big improvement. When I started doing these, I could only do 4 reps. And then the antagonistic movement, I should say, is this one. Finger extension. Very weird looking exercise. Something you don't see a lot of people doing. But it's also something that's really good for tennis elbow So that's something that I can feel just sort of lying there waiting on my left side. All right. So both these exercises are for the glutes, for end range strength. So the opposing muscles that need to be flexible for the middle splits. And this is probably the weirdest exercise you'll ever see me do. I'm going to move the camera. And I like to do this as a superset, so straight into it. So when I was hanging, I was fighting against gravity to strengthen my glutes. Now I'm going with gravity to strengthen my glutes. So now I'm tensing my glutes as hard as I can. 10 seconds. So I use the dowel rod just to, as a gauge of how wide apart my feet are. And first round is never as good as the last round, so I never push myself too hard in the first round. Alright. Oh man. Oh. Brutal. Alright, here we go for round 2. So I've done my end range contractions outside. So let's see how I go here. Oh man. Oh. Woo! Sometimes it's easier to just go down and sit into the splits rather than try and get back up again. Alright, last round of the middle splits. I've done my end range glute activation. Oh man. So I'm holding onto my pelvis and my stomach and all that because I'm trying to be really deliberate with my posterior pelvic tilt. So I'm like grabbing on and making sure that like I'm just feeling it and seeing, if I'm in an anterior tilt or a posterior tilt, and then squeeze together as hard as I can. And you can see that set I was lower than I was in the first set. If I did 2 more sets, I'd go even lower, but I'm not working. Flexibility isn't my priority at the moment. I'm really prioritizing strength in my upper body and overcoming, this golfer's elbow, stopping myself from getting tennis elbow, stopping, niggling shoulder injuries like this happening by creating structural balance. And that's where I need the most work in my body. Bloody mozzie. So, yeah, flexibility is it's just like maintenance for me at the moment. Just doing a little bit of it so I don't go backwards too much. And now, golfer's elbow and tennis elbow prevention. Oh, those legs are sore. Oh. So, this is mostly for golfer's elbow, why I'm doing this. These are the tendons that become inflamed and aggravated that cause golfer's elbow pain. The wrist flexor tendons. So you have to strengthen them. And then really just for the antagonistic movement to create balance, structural balance in the wrist joint, I do wrist extension as well. These do help with tennis elbow, but it's mostly the supinators that you need to work, which I'm about to work after this, but these do help. And usually you're about half as strong there as you are there. In my case, it's a little bit less than half. All right, so now I'm onto my tennis elbow prevention exercises, and this is the number one exercise to prevent tennis elbow. But you do still need to do everything else I've done in the workout. You do still need to train biceps and triceps, and you need to do push and pull movements. But these are the tendons that get inflamed. So wrist extension, and this is really important. Other side. These your forearms get so hammered when you do calisthenics training, and I was completely unprepared for this when I started my calisthenics journey all those years ago now, maybe 6 or 7 years ago now, and I had no idea how to treat golfer's elbow or tennis elbow back then. I know how to treat it now because I got it, and I worked with Phil White, our resident sports physiotherapist. And when I got golfer's elbow and tennis elbow, I had this attitude of train through pain, and I just trained through it until it got so bad that I couldn't do anything. Like, I just couldn't do anything where I gripped barbells or dumbbells or anything. That was it. And then the antagonistic movement, we do the pronators like this. Yeah, so my forearms are definitely getting jacked from all this. And it's all just about keeping them strong enough to be able to handle what the rest of your body is doing, you know, because you... Oh, that bastard. I caught him and he got away. Still. Got to work on grip strength so I can finish those mozzies off in one catch. Yeah, when you, when you're doing all this other work to strengthen your shoulders and your chest and your back and your biceps and triceps, you got to strengthen those forearms as well, because they're all the load that's going through the rest of the muscles is going through the forearms, and I just didn't consider that when I was starting out, and it smashed me. I paid for it. So I'll do another 2 sets of this, and then that'll be it. And I'll see you in tomorrow's workout.